So easily one of the most recommended things I'm like asked to make a video on is tell some life stories, bro. Give us some of that life experience. Tell us all the crazy shit that happened in your day. And well, I'm gonna be honest, man, I haven't really had that exciting of a life, bro. Like, I don't really have too many crazy stories to share with people, but you know what? I feel like this is a pretty good story that I think you guys will enjoy. Now, as you can tell by the title of this video, I am gonna be talking about the time I almost got arrested at GameStop. Now, when I say I was almost arrested, did I actually think I was going to be arrested? Probably not, dude. But the simple fact is, the dude who was working at GameStop, I'm pretty sure he was the store manager, but he was like threatening to call the cops on me, bro, because I tried to trade in an Xbox 360. But this will make a little bit more sense as we get into the story. So this was back when I was like a senior in high school, bro. I was 18 at the time, you know, old enough to actually trade shit in a GameStop, because for some weird reason, you have to be 18 years old to sell a fucking video game to GameStop. Like, I've never understood that, but you know, whatever. You have to be 18 to trade in a GameStop. So my brother had this friend who was like in middle school at the time, I'm pretty sure, and he had like this Xbox 360 he wanted to trade in for an Xbox One so they could play like Halo 5 together. So I guess like my brother offered, like, yeah, my brother will take us to GameStop after school. You can trade in your console. And you know what? At first I was kind of pissed off. I'm like, why the fuck am I taxing this motherfucker around? But then I'm like, okay, now his sister's in my grade, and she was pretty hot, bro. So, you know, at the end of the day, I was like, all right, you know what? This is fine. It's not that big a deal. The GameStop's like 5 minutes down the street. Now, this is a very important detail to know, okay? Because this GameStop had like this really bad reputation with everybody at my school, because let's just say they absolutely fucking hated us, all right? Like, we used to go to this GameStop all the fucking time. Like, they should have loved us, bro. We spent so much money there and stuff, but they absolutely hated us, man. I really don't know why. Well, I mean, they were kind of dicks to us, so we were dicks back, because I don't know why, bro. Like, every single person who works at GameStop is either really fucking chill or has this mad fucking power fantasy. Like, these motherfuckers think they are the shit because they work at fucking GameStop, dude. And these were definitely the people who had like this idea like they were better than everyone because they worked at fucking GameStop, bro. Like, bro, you're making $10 an hour working at fucking GameStop. You probably have a fucking roommate in your 40s. But yeah, that's beside the point. So the dude who worked at GameStop was like this really like scrawny looking guy. We called him Shaggy, like, to his face. Like, we straight up roasted this man. And then the other chick that worked there, well, I shouldn't even say chick, bro. She looked like fucking Shrek with a wig on. And literally, we used to call her the feminazi because one time she went on this like completely unprovoked rant about women's rights, or I don't even know, man. It was really cringe. But anyway, needless to say, these two were the type of GameStop employees that absolutely thought they were the shit because they worked at fucking GameStop, dude. Which again, I don't really know how that's a flex, but another thing we need to know here is they in particular absolutely fucking despised my high school football team because we used to always go in there after practice. You know, we kind of smelled like shit, man, because after 3 hours of football practice in the hot sun wearing a bunch of gear, you kind of smell like shit, dude. So we used to go to GameStop or whatever and pick up games after practices on Tuesdays and Fridays. So they always hated the football team, and I was on the football team in high school. So already it was a really bad combination. So the day we decided to go, it was Shaggy working there, and I called ahead because I wanted to make sure they even had this fucking Xbox One before we drove down there. And I called ahead and asked, do you have an Xbox One? Because I'm looking to trade in a 360 for one. And he goes, yeah, we got some in stock. I'll put it to the side. So I give him my name. He put it aside. So, you know, at this point, we're like ready to go. So after classes, we all meet in the parking lot. We all get in my car. We drive down the road like 5 minutes to GameStop. I think we went to Taco Bell first because it's on the way. So we grabbed something to eat, went to the GameStop, parked, got out of the car. You know, I'm walking in the door, pulling out my ID. My brother's friend grabs the Xbox, and there's Shaggy standing behind the counter. So I walk up to him, pull out my ID, and it's like, yeah, I called about the Xbox One. I want to trade in this 360. So my brother's friend walks up and puts the bag on the counter. And this is when Shaggy gives me like this death stare, bro. Like, he's trying to look into the inner depths of my soul. Like, this man fucking despises me because Shaggy and I, needless to say, have some history together, all right? You know, we've gotten into quite the arguments at this GameStop before. So, you know what? I thought, whatever, dude. He's not going to be a dick about it unless I say something. So, you know, my brother's friend puts the Xbox on the counter, but he's still just staring at me. He's like thinking like, what in the actual fuck is this guy doing with that Xbox 360? So I'm just like wondering, what's the problem here? Like, I've traded in a bunch of stuff with people before who have been like, quote unquote, underage, dude. It's never really been a problem, but Shaggy just continues to stare at me. So that's why I'm like, all right, man, yeah, I just wanted to get that Xbox One. Can you go ahead and see how much I can get for this 360? He goes like, well, I would give it to you, but I thought you were the one who was trading in the Xbox 360. I'm like, yeah, I am. That's why I handed you my ID. I don't need to give you an ID to purchase a video game console. He goes, well, if you were the one trading it in, you would have been the one to put it on the counter. counter, so I don't believe that you're actually the one completing this trade-in. I'm like, bro, I literally handed you my ID. I'm the one trading it in. And he goes, no, I don't believe you. I think it's your friend's Xbox, which, first off, why the fuck do you care, bro? And second, you have no proof that it's his Xbox. Like, none at all. There's literally no way to prove that it's not my Xbox. So that's when I say, well, I asked him to carry it in for me because I was trying to get my ID ready. And he goes, I don't believe you, man. I think it's his Xbox 360 and you're trying to trade it in for him, which, again, why the fuck would that even matter, bro? Like, there's no laws against this shit. But according to Shaggy, there is, because this is when I said, like, I've never had this issue before going into GameStop. Like, I bring my brother to GameStop all the fucking time and trade in stuff with him, and it's never been an issue. He goes, well, just in case you didn't know, this is against the law. So at this point, I'm, like, trying not to just fucking spit laughing. Like, this shit is so fucking cringe. Like, this dude is literally trying to claim that trading in something for someone at GameStop is fucking illegal. So that's when, you know, I have to go back at Shaggy, man. You know, I can't let that shit fly. So I'm like, bro, are you telling me that every single time my mom walked into GameStop with me and I put my games on the counter saying I wanted to trade them in and she, like, traded them in for me, she was breaking the law and every single other GameStop on fucking planet Earth is committing a crime? He goes, that's right. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I'm like going, what the fuck, dude? So I'm like, so the problem is that I didn't put the fucking console on the counter? He goes, that's right. If you would have put the console on the counter, I would have been able to trade it in. So I said, all right, let me pick it up and put it on the fucking counter. Like, at this point, I'm just being a fucking smart ass, man. So I pick up the fucking console, put it back on the counter and say, I want to trade this in. He goes, I can't, man. We already have you on camera. Your friend brought it in and your friend put it on the counter. That's illegal. I'm like, oh my fucking God, man. So I said, you know what? If I walk out of the door with the Xbox, bring it back in, can I trade it in then? He goes, no, because we'll have 2 fucking clips of you walking in the door with the Xbox, and one of the times you're not holding it. I'm like, how do you know it's the same Xbox, though? He goes, our cameras are very detailed. Like, this dude is just being a fucking dick at this point. So that's why I'm like, bro, this is fucking ridiculous. So at this point, you know, I'm just arguing with him for a little while, like trying to point out how fucking stupid he's being, and that's when he says, dude, honestly, I could call the cops right fucking now because you are literally committing a crime. So at this point, I'm like, Jesus Christ, bro, what fucking cop is gonna show up to a GameStop when someone calls and says, yes, someone is here trying to trade in an Xbox for his underage friend? Like, bro, could you imagine being the cop who has to show up to that call? But at that point, man, I didn't think it was worth it. So he's like threatening to call the cops and shit, saying I'm breaking the law. So at that point, we just leave, dude. You know, it's not really worth the time. We're just gonna go to a different GameStop. So we get back in the car. I get on my phone and check to see if there's any other GameStops in the area that have the Xbox in stock. And of course, the only one that does is like 45 minutes away. So we start driving to this other fucking GameStop, man. And this is where shit gets really fucking weird, all right? So the kid's fucking mom all of a sudden calls him on the phone and goes, where the fuck are you? You were supposed to be home at like 4:30. Where are you? Like, she's freaking the fuck out. He goes, Mom, I told you I was going with my friend to go trade in my Xbox. And she goes, I thought you would have been home by now. Where are you? Like, literally freaking the fuck out. So he's just like, oh, we went to one GameStop, they wouldn't take it, so we're driving to another. She goes, you should have kept me updated. I didn't know where you were. Like, literally freaking out over the fact that we're like 10 minutes fucking late from going to GameStop. So, you know, after that, it was all fine. It wasn't a big deal. So we drive to the other GameStop. We get to the GameStop. My brother's friend is carrying in the bag, and they didn't care. This GameStop, they're super chill. Like, you know, they're actually like really nice people who work there. So my brother's friend puts it on the counter. I show him my ID and say, yeah, we want to trade this in for the Xbox One. They're like, yeah, no problem. Let me go through and see what you guys have, and I can give you a total for the trade-in. So as he's like going through the bag and shit, I'm telling him what happened at the other store, and he's like, dude, we hear about that type of stuff all the time. That store is like known as the GameStop hell by our regional manager because they get so many complaints about it. But anyway, he's going through the bag of stuff and he like pulls everything out on the counter and goes, I think we kind of have a problem here. I don't think I can take this trade in. And we're like, oh shit, is it the ID thing again? Like, it's a joke? And he goes, nah, it's not that. You didn't bring a controller. So at this point, me and my brother just fucking turn to his friend and we're like, are you fucking kidding me? We went through all this shit and you didn't even bring a fucking controller to trade in this console. And he goes, what? I didn't know I needed to bring a controller to trade in a console. I'm like, how do you play a console without a controller? He goes, oh yeah, that's a good point. So I'm like, at this point going, how much is like a used Xbox 360 controller we could buy to just trade in real quick? The dude's like, honestly, I wouldn't recommend that. It's like $40 and that's about half the value of the trade-in of the console. So I would just come back a different day. So at this point, you know, we are leaving empty-handed once again. But I mean, the guys at the GameStop were really nice that time. So, but on the way back, we were just completely roasting this man as we were like driving to his house to go drop him off for forgetting the controller. dealer. And you know what? A couple days later, actually, he went back to the original GameStop we went to with his dad, and he traded the console end for the Xbox One, which I find pretty interesting because according to Shaggy, going in with your parents and having them trade in something for you is against the law. But, you know, I guess that is the story of the time I almost got arrested at GameStop, bro. You know, it's a little bit clickbait, I know, but, you know, nonetheless, I thought it was a pretty interesting story. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to drop a like on it. I would greatly appreciate it. And also, let me know if you'd be interested in more stories like this one. I have a couple more I could probably tell that are pretty interesting. But as always, thanks so much for all the support on the channel. You guys are the fucking best, and I will catch you guys next time.
Play of the game.
Nerf this!
Triple kill.